Washington transfer, was on the Pac-12 all-freshman team there. This one is lined and caught by the diving Gabby Garcia. Well, Patty Gasso told us the other day she feels like the middle defense on the infield has won this team several games. That's an indication.
It wasn't exactly the most graceful dive I've ever seen, but great job by the freshman.
It was effective.
Effective.
And that's all it needed.
And when you think about just being new, you also have a freshman at shortstop. And I think one thing that Gabby Garcia has really done a good job of, there have been so many things to talk about of what she's done offensively, but the way that she has handled herself as a freshman starting shortstop has been impressive as well.
Slow dribbler out in front. Emmerling picks it up, and safe at first is Panel. So an effective bunt, essentially, there for Taylor Panel, just getting a piece of that ball and able to roll her way aboard with 2 outs here in the first inning. See performer Taylor Panel keeps it alive. And now we have Jennifer Rocha, the Oklahoma pitching coach, coming out, and the plate umpire Tatum Stolting as well. I think they're chatting about here.
I keep seeing Coach Rocha sort of looking at the stride area of Sam Landry. And quick meeting and wrapped up, but kind of see Sam pointing back to in between the alley of where she's striding out. We've seen that a couple times this season of pitchers wanting to adjust some things in the circle as far as the dirt and where their stride foot is landing.
McKenna Gibson takes the opening pitch from Landry downstairs. Senior, Santa Clarita, California. Hit a 2-run home run in game 1 of the Arkansas series. 39 career home runs, 157 career runs driven in. Missed about 2 weeks, about 12 games with an upper body injury, but 2 times first team All-SEC.
This Volunteer offense, and we've heard Coach Weekly talk about it, but what Craig Snyder has done of really just building an offense that's holistic. That is the word that has gotten used quite often, of playing to each of the strengths. And I think that's why we see a little bit of everything from this Volunteer offense.
3 balls and a strike to McKenna Gibson. And count is full.
It's a tremendous location from Landry, coming in to Gibson on the 3-1 and challenging her on the inner part of the plate. Did you notice the location, though, at the knee?
There's ball 4, so runners at first and second on the infield hit by Panel, and the walk to McKenna Gibson for Karen Weekly, the 24th year head coach of the Lady Vols, last season's SEC Coach of the Year, and 2 times a runner-up at the Women's College World Series. And she said, when you know that you're coming into an environment like Norman, you talk about it with your players. And she went back to her days as a litigator. She said it's just like practicing law. Anything that you're not prepared for can become a distraction. So be ready for this environment and the type of crowd that you're going to face on the road in Norman.
And that type of approach, I mean, Coach Karen Weekly is one of the best to ever do it. And the way that she approaches the game is so different from a lot of coaches. And it's refreshing in the way that she takes what she knows outside of softball and applies it. And, you know, this is an environment that you have to prepare for. You can't walk into Love's Field blindly. I mean, there is not an empty seat in this stadium right now. And I think it's important to have that conversation with your team of, this is going to be the atmosphere. How are we going to handle it? You've got to be proactive instead of reactive walking in to Norman.
Seen a little bit of Volunteer orange scattered out in right field and the bleachers out there. Here is a player familiar with this Oklahoma program, the Oklahoma transfer Sophia Nugent. And she takes a fastball from Sam Landry, playing against some of her former teammates, so there aren't a lot of them left. Sophia Nugent was on 2 national championship teams at Oklahoma.
And Nugent, and what she did in her short time here, but was just part of 2 really tremendous teams in a Sooner uniform, and has moved on, and it's great to still see her do great things at Tennessee.
7 home runs as an Oklahoma Sooner back in 2023. This is her 2nd season with the Lady Volunteers. Strike 2. Couple of visits from Isabella Emmerling to Sam Landry to try to get things situated here in this 1st inning.
2 quick outs by Landry, but then we've seen her work deep into counts, thrown quite a few pitches here in the 1st inning to start this ball game.
There's ball 4, and the bases are loaded. A golden opportunity for the Lady Volunteers here in the 1st inning.
All of this has started with 2 outs. Again, just a little bit of a swinging bunt by Panel as Coach Jen Rocha makes her way out to have a chat. But one thing that has been an issue for this pitching staff throughout the season: walks, free passes, working deep into counts, and we're seeing that here early in this ball game.
Jennifer Rocha, such a calm demeanor about her, and as Patty Gasso says, she is the perfect person for who I am. But they just work so well together. Coach Gasso can be certainly fiery at times, and Jennifer Rocha just so calm and poised, dealing with athletes and dealing with coaches.
It's such a tremendous balance of what this coaching staff has between Coach Gasso and Coach Rocha, JT Gasso as well. And, you know, one thing that I really admire about Coach Jen Rocha is she does not try to make cookie-cutter pitchers. It's a very 2-way relationship with every pitcher on her pitching staff.
Big chance here for Laura Mueller and the Lady Vols. Pitch is just missing a little bit inside. Mueller, the Middle Tennessee transfer. This is her 2nd season at Tennessee. 1-1 the count. Karen Weekly really liked the energy in that series finale against Arkansas the other day that Mueller brought.
Yeah, and the change in Mueller, it was visible.
A little pop-up that's caught by the retreating Agbayani. Bases left loaded by the Lady Vols. Oklahoma coming to the plate.
Has command of all of those pitches, and that's about the highest compliment you can get as a pitcher.
Yeah, she said, and she could win with any one of those pitches. She said Ellen Renfro is the other pitcher that she's had that she felt like could do the same thing.
That's good company if you're in a conversation with Ellen Renfro as a pitcher. But, you know, we even heard Coach Weekly talk about she could go out and you're only going to throw rise ball today, and she could still win a ball game.
Abigail Dayton leads things off for Oklahoma here. Oklahoma has kind of mixed things up at the top of the lineup. Patty Gasso said it's a little bit about matchups. It's a little bit about style of the other team, but they really like Abigail Dayton. She said Abigail Dayton's the party starter. On the field, probably would be a good party starter off the field, and she gets the Oklahoma potential party started here with the leadoff walk.
And speaking of party starter, the leadoff walk, but the emotion coming from Dayton, getting that Sooner dugout fired up. That's the way you've got to start. Try to get that spark going offensively for the Sooners here early.
That'll bring in Nellie McEnroe-Marinas. Just off to an amazing start. Had a preseason injury last year, did Nellie McEnroe-Marinas, and Patty Gasso said she was salivating at the chance to play this year. It was painful. Even though it was fun to watch her team win a national championship, she wanted to be out there. And not being out there has kind of driven her to this early great start she's had.
She's a competitor, and you can see it in everything that she does. And redshirt freshman wearing that captain C as well, just kind of showing the type of mentality that she brings to this team. But one thing that Nelly Macaron-Marinas has really done a good job of is just truly being consistent. We see her defensively. She is a rock at third base, but each of her at-bats are calm, cool, collected. The poise that she brings in both facets of her game are something that these young players can learn from, even though Macaron-Marinas is a young player herself.
Quick visit there from Megan Rhodes-Smith, Tennessee pitching coach, just to try to calm down. You would imagine Margetko got to be amped up in this environment.
Yeah, and I think another piece of this as well, and I think we saw it from Landry in the top half of this inning, is getting a clear establishment of the strike zone and establishing both sides of the plate. But I think it would be fair to say there were some close pitches called balls, and that's what the strike zone is. We're seeing it here as well for Margetko early here in the first, but trying to find a way to establish what that strike zone is and get in it quickly.
7 home runs in 9 SEC games for Nelly McEnroe-Marine.
Big time deception on the off speed coming from Margetko.
And so here is Cassidy Pickering. I mean, that's the talent that Margetko has in a situation like that. After the leadoff walk, come right back and get one of the hottest hitters in the SEC out.
And one thing for Sage Margetko that makes her so difficult, you can't sit on one speed. We just saw it to Nelly Macaron-Marinas of changing speed in such a way, and there it is again with the off speed in for a called strike. But she will throw it at any count at any time, and it forces hitters to sit differently. You can't sit on one speed, especially when you know you have a pitcher who might throw it on a 3-1.
Pickering rolls this one towards second base. Ella Dodge over to first base for the second out. So Dayton able to make it down the line, and Pickering is saying she feels like she's safe.
You saw the safe call from Tiare Jennings as well.
Yes, that is Tiare Jennings over there. It's our plate umpire Tatum Stolting with the official announcement of what is being reviewed. Safer out at first base. Tiare Jennings, the All-American former Sooner national champion, coaching first base. She's a student coach, but she's over there at first base because Falapalima Steele, who is a regular assistant, is expecting a child.
Fighting for the call.
Ruled an infield base hit, and Oklahoma with runners at first and second. Tennessee had the bases loaded in the top of the first, but could not scratch out a run. And Gabby Garcia now for Oklahoma, the freshman from Chandler, Arizona. She's got 5 home runs in SEC play. Her mom, Kara, Hall of Fame player at Arizona State. So much expectation. And in the fall, it was a little difficult for Gabby Garcia to deal with, Patty Gasso said. So to see this, what she's done in the spring, has been a special time for Patty Gasso and the staff.
She has really handled herself well, and the mental side of the game, you watch someone like Gabby Garcia, talent is never an issue, right? So physically talented, and you're always curious to see how freshmen handle themselves. And she's done such a tremendous job and has been about as clutch as they come at the plate.
Patty Gasso, when we spoke to her yesterday and asked about the Wichita State game, she said, "I can't hear you. What are you talking about?" It was a slugfest up in Wichita the other night. 19-16 after Oklahoma got 8 runs in the first inning. You're thinking they're going to cruise comfortably to a win. But Wichita State always bows up when they see Oklahoma on the schedule, and it turned into a lengthy affair.
I think about that we are halfway through a decade, and the Sooners are the only softball team that have won a national championship. It's dynasty is about the only word you have for it.
Yeah. What you're saying is the only team that's won a national championship in the 2020s is Oklahoma.
We are halfway through the decade.
I had to think about that
It's
for
wild.
a second. I was kind of doing the math, which I'm not good at. There they are.
And one of the wildest things to think about as well is, as we're here in a relatively early SEC matchup, these are two teams who their games against each other, for the most part in the last decade, have been at the Women's College World Series.
Yeah. And you take the toughest league in the country and add the #1 and 2 teams in the country to it this year. Lower third of the order to the plate for the Lady Volunteers here in the second. Ella Dodge out there at second base tonight. 4 home runs for her. Lashes this one foul. Ella Dodge out of Bradenton, Florida. Just played 1 game in the Arkansas series. Kind of solidifying that defense up the middle has been one of the goals for Karen Weekly and the staff.
And as the season progresses, and Coach Weekly said herself of making changes and needing to find a consistency.
Goodness. That one really got away, obviously, from Sam Landry, unfortunately.
Continuing to kind of look at that area out in the front of the circle, but I think the conversation here and something you're noticing from Landry is her misses have been pretty big misses.
So as a pitcher, and we don't know exactly what the conversations are, as you said about the stride point or the landing spot for that front foot. You could tell she was pointing at it. Whether it's sound or not, is it in your head as a pitcher? And if it is, how do you get it out?
A little bit, right? I mean, if you feel like you aren't striding out and having that strong footing, and I'm making assumptions here. I don't know that that's necessarily the case by any means, but it's something that you just have to adjust. I mean, that's the name of the game, and regardless, finding a way to work in the strike zone and work pitches.
It's the 4th base runner already for the Lady Vols. And Amaya Doyle with an opportunity to move Ella Dodge on down the line. Carterville, Illinois native. This one is ripped but foul. So 1-1 to count on Doyle. 189 average.
Spoken about, and I keep using that word, dynamic. How Tennessee is offensively is every hitter in their lineup can do a little bit of everything.
Nothing. Tennessee lead in the second.
And Doyle just went ahead and proved my point for me in a situation where there are so many different options.
And now it is Gabby Leach. Landry has been so effective this season, but did struggle. Gave up 6 runs in that game at Wichita State the other night.
Yeah, and Wichita State just a few days ago really saw Landry well. I mean, we talked about the score and the 16 runs, and you know the Sooners used multiple pitchers in that game, but Landry, a little bit of a rough outing as far as hitters squaring the ball up. And you know, we've seen that so far in this game as well. And when we go back to the first inning, the first 2 outs of this ball game, they were outs in the scorebook, but struck pretty well.
Check swing foul ball there from Gabby Leach. Twin sister Alana, also a Lady Vol from the Woodlands, Texas. Tennessee going to be able to roll the lineup over here in the second inning already against Sam Landry. Well hit into the left field corner. That ball lands and then hops just over the fence in that foul corner. It'll be a ground rule double for Gabby Leach.
And you could see Leach on that swing, letting that pitch get deep.
It's on the year now for Gabby Leach, and back to the top of the lineup for Savia Morgan. Morgan hit that fly ball out to left field her first time Oklahoma shifted. They have shifted again with 3 infielders over on the left side, 2 infielders on the right side, and only 2 outfielders. Nobody home out in right field.
And Morgan showing bunt, 2 pitches in a row. So many different options here for the Volunteers. Runner in scoring position, Morgan, who she can bunt, she can lace a double. I mean, so many different things here for Morgan as she shows slap.
Easy play for Sam Landry. Gabby Leach moves on down the line to third base. And that's the first out in the second inning.
Huge out for Landry, and you can see Morgan. Ground ball back to the pitcher, but she moved her runner. Opportunity here for fielder to drive her in. Sacrifice fly, squeeze. So many different options here for the Volunteers.
Kenzie Fiedler hit one to the shortstop. Gabby Garcia, her first time up. The approach of Kenzie Fiedler is one thing Karen Weekly really likes about her. The way that she steps into the box. She's got a presence about her. 1-1 the count. This one sails out of play. We've got overcast skies tonight. We talked about the wind whipping out of Love's Field at about 35 miles per hour at times. Hopefully that will die off just a little bit. If you're a pitcher, as you were, DJ.
Work down. That's a really nice spot by Landry. Just as I say, work down. Hitting that corner low and away. One of the first plus counts we have seen for Landry here early in this ball game, 1-2.
Caught by the first baseman Sanders, and scrambling back to third base goes Leach. 2 down in the inning. Base hit on the infield. It was essentially a swinging bunt, and she advanced all the way around to third. It's left stranded there. Bases left loaded by the Lady Volunteers. And now we've got Karen Weekly walking down the line to chat with our home plate umpire, Tatum Stolte. Landry pops the glove, misses a little bit outside, and the count is even at 1-1 on Taylor Panel. Taylor Panel's really gotten into the student side of being a player, talking a lot with Greg Snyder's in his first season orchestrating hitting and offense at Tennessee. A little more film study, talking about opposing pitchers.
It just shows the maturity, right? Panel, a sophomore, shows such growth from a freshman season. And again, becoming a student of the game. When you stop learning, when you stop trying to find new ways to get better, it's time to hang up the cleats, right? So you've got to love the sophomore wanting to find that growth.
In the respect for each other, hard not to have great respect throughout the softball world for both of these head coaches, DJ.
Absolutely, and you said it, 2 of the best to ever do it, but 2 women who have really not just built 2 tremendous programs, but have helped grow the sport and have helped just college softball in general become what it is today. You think of Patty Gasso, Karen Weekly, and what they have done just in general for the sport of softball. All the wins are just icing on the cake.
Ella Parker leads things off for Oklahoma. Parker, then Sydney Sanders, and Elana Aguayane. 5, 6, and 7 in the order. Sooners had 2 reach base in the first, but left them both stranded. Ella Parker lifts one to center field, and Fiedler takes care of that one. What a boost it has to be for Sage Margetko to see that crooked number that her offense produced out there. Have a little bit of confidence. You can maybe breathe a little easier with 2 runs on the board.
Yeah, pitch with a lead. And Margetko has done a very good job in this game so far. Still early, still a lot of game left, but you can see her settling in and settling in quickly. Went straight at Ella Parker on the inner half, doing the same thing here to Sid Sanders.
1-1 to Sydney Sanders. Senior from San Marcos, California. Transferred from Arizona State after 1 year there. Her 3rd season as a Sooner. Over 200 career games that she has played. And so she's active in a lot of the big categories. 51 career home runs, 6th amongst active players, and 140 walks that she's drawn. That's 4th amongst all active players. Lifts this one foul down the left field line. Is there room over there? There is plenty of it, in fact, for Morgan. The wind is going to hold that thing up. You know, down there, that part of the field, it's past where the roof is, so there's nothing to block the wind from just keeping that ball fair.
And Morgan did a really good job of hanging with that. We said the wind might be a little bit of a factor with the long ball potentially, right? But that wind blew that foul ball back nearly into play, but at least where Morgan had a play on it, and she did a really good job of hanging with it and playing that wind. 2 big outs for Margetko here in the second.
As she faces Agbayani. Alana Agbayani, junior from Hawaii. Three and 0 the count.
As a transfer, Agbayani has really done a good job of just coming in to this program and being a spark. Everything she does, and seeing it right there as she breaks up the 1-2-3 inning and draws a 4-pitch walk, but that's what she does. It's consistently finding a way on base and finding a way to get into scoring position.
Agbayani, the BYU transfer, added 424 there a season ago. So here is Isabella Emmerling, the Oklahoma catcher. She also a transfer from North Carolina, where she hit 14 home runs as a sophomore. In fact, she went over 100 career runs batted in Oklahoma's win at Wichita State this week. Have another little meeting at the mound, the circle. Megan Rhodes Smith out for a conversation. That's a couple of times she's been out to chat with Margetko.
Yeah, and we've seen it on both sides. We've seen Coach Rocha and Coach Gasso out to speak to Landry as well. So we end so many meetings so far in this game. You can kind of just see both staffs trying to keep their pitchers composed. And on top of that as well, the chess game at play a little bit. You've got 2 tremendous offenses, 2 pitchers going head to head, just trying to keep everything in line and keep pitchers in the strike zone.
So 2-0 now to Emmerling after the walk to Agbayani.
This is the 5th straight ball thrown by Margetko here with 2 outs.
A off-speed pitch that she's gotten a couple of hitters with.
And that's that off-speed, throwing it 2-0. Again, 5 pitches in a row that were outside the zone, and then being able to pull that string with an off-speed pitch. There are so few pitchers in the country that can throw their changeup on a dime like that in any count.
2-2 the count now to Isabella Emerling.
Is make in-game adjustments and respond.
Easy pick up there for Sanders to tack the bag at first and retire Gibson to begin the third. So Sam Landry, you know, people want to grumble about the transfer portal in softball, in all sports really, but the simple fact is it works, and it works a lot. Both these teams are once again an example of it. It's worked out here with her transferring from Louisiana.
Hate it or love it, that is the landscape of NCAA sports now, and that's just where we're at. And I think one thing, if you're looking at it as a whole, is players want to go where their best fit is. Players want to, in Oklahoma's case, I think there have been players who come here and are going, I want to be a part of one of those national championship teams. Sam Landry is no different, but I think one thing the transfer portal does is it just really shakes up what each of these teams look like each year.
Sanders is just able to hang on. That ball was actually over the wall and into the camera well down there. She was able to retrieve it, and two gone.
Sid Sanders, big grin, hanging to that thought of transfers and how quickly.
That ball will scoot on through off the bat of Nealer into center field. A two-out single for the Tennessee shortstop.
The second time here in this ball game that Tennessee has gotten something going with 2 outs.
And so here is Ella Dodge. She was hit by pitch and came in to score on Doyle's home run back in the second. So there's kind of shortstop, second base, these spots, Nealer and Dodge. Destiny Rodriguez has played some second base as well. And it's been about solidifying that defense. And Karen Weekly's not been super happy with it. Said they just need to arrive at the best combination. That is a line drive, Agbayani, and the inning's over. 2-0 Tennessee.
When you get to the point of, well, they'll be in postseason. Now, how far are they going to go, and are they going to win the whole thing?
2013, they squared off in the National Championship Series. Oklahoma winning that one in 2 games. Another conversation here is Sophia Nugent out to visit with Sage Marjetko. Sophia Nugent, former Oklahoma Sooner, as we've talked about, but did not play at Loves Field. She played at Marina Hines Field, was on Oklahoma's 2 national title teams, but helping her teammates get ready for what you face when you come to Norman, when you play against this Oklahoma program.
Yeah, and you know, we can talk all day about the atmosphere at Loves Field, but you know, Marita Hines packed house as well, and just the environment that you get from this fan base and some of the things to expect coming out of that Sooner dugout as well. And Sophia Nugent probably has the best scouting report as far as things behind the scenes as anybody.
Hannah Core in for the Sooners, the number 9 batter, and she draws a walk. A Hannah Core fan and a Kiss fan. Wonder if Hannah Core is a fan of the rock band Kiss, or just has a Kiss fan who's a Core fan.
A lot of questions, a lot of investigating.
Yeah, I'm gonna let you get to the bottom of that. The search for answers. Back to the top of the order, and Abigail Dayton, who walked her first time up.
Marjetko having a little bit of an issue finding the zone here in the third.
You see anything different about her? And right now we're going to have Megan Rhodes-Smith back out for a conversation.
Yeah, and I talked earlier about how well she was doing being in the strike zone, but also her misses were close misses. We've seen some pitches here as of late. Again, 5 straight balls here in the third, and the last one in the dirt. So again, just settling back in, getting underneath the ball, and not trying to do too much. Pitching with a lead into this point. Let your defense work for you. When the Sooners have put the ball in play, the Lady Vols defense has shined. So again, throwing to contact and not trying to do too much. Let your pitches work.
calmly delivers a strike over the outer half. 1-1 to count here on Abigail Dayton. Not unusual for Oklahoma to use multiple players in the leadoff spot. This one is popped up. It evades the glove of Marchetko and of the shortstop Mealer, and everybody will be safe. Maybe not what Abigail touched it.
I think there was a glove that was put on it by Marchetko.
Okay. Well, they've got hit up on the board. You keep your scorebook in ink. You're writing in ink. So if they change it, you'll have to scribble out over it. But for now, it's a base hit. And here's Nelly McEnroe-Marinas, who struck out looking her first time. That is a bold play by you, by the way, writing your scorebook in ink. It's more of a marker even.
Yeah, flare pins.
Yeah.
Once you go flare pin, you never go back. That pitch on the outer half, just catching the corner, and that's a part of the zone that has been a little bit inconsistent here tonight on both sides of the ball of whether or not that pitch is going to be a call to strike. But Marchetko ahead here, no balls and 2 strikes early. And another good location for Marchetko. She's done such a great job of working left and right. Part of her scouting report, again, she can work in all directions, and we've seen it. And she's had success in all directions, but back in the zone here and ahead on McEnroe-Marinas.
Swing and a miss. A strikeout for the second time. Marchetko's able to fan Nelly McEnroe-Marinas.
Uncharacteristic for McEnroe-Marinas, and chasing a pitch in the dirt. Marchetko doing a tremendous job of expanding the zone.
Cassidy Pickering had a base hit her first time up. Two 2-0 the count. Tennessee electing to not pitch the 2-time SEC Pitcher of the Year, Carlin Perkins, in the opener. We were all prepared to talk about 78.2 miles per hour, a record in softball that she threw on Monday in the 6th inning of that game against Arkansas. In fact, that's the first thing we asked Patty Gasso, what do you expect in Tennessee? And she shouted 78.2 miles per hour.
It was the pitch heard around the world.
It was.
And rightfully so.
Absolutely. That one got a piece of Cassidy Pickering.
Everything about that pitch, Pickering, 2-0 count, jumping on that pitch that she was hunting. But Sophia Nugent going out the pitch before, and we've seen her be very active.
There's strike 2 on the outside edge to Pickering. Pickering had 4 walks and a home run in that slugfest at Wichita State the other night. 4 walks and a home run.
Not a stat line you see often.
You do not. She's riding a 7-game hit streak, make it 8 after the hit earlier tonight, and the bases are now loaded. And Gabby Garcia is going to get a crack for Oklahoma.
The freshman, an opportunity. She's been in so many times in this season already. It has come up clutch, but the Sooners, opportunity to tie this game up or take the lead, and have left some runners on base so far in this ball game.
Infield in for the Lady Volunteers, and Gabby Garcia rounded out to the shortstop Laura Mealer her first time. That's going to be a pitch clock violation against Tennessee, and 1 ball. I believe I saw the signal there from Tatum Stolte.
It was a pitch clock violation as Coach Weekly, unhappy 70s and sometimes even the upper 70s. That is a huge rhythm disruptor. And opening up with the heat to start.
1 away in the inning. So there was the pitch clock violation. And so Pickens inherited.
And what a great job by the freshman. Not trying to do too much. and taking that velocity to the opposite side of the field and playing the game. Play the game. Doesn't matter how you get it done. Find a way to chip away at that lead and take care of business with runners in scoring position.
So runners at first and second, and now 2 down here in the third, and Ella Parker is the batter. She flied out to Kenzie Fiedler, the center fielder, her first time. Ella Parker's been battling very painful shin splints that she continues to deal with. And in fact, she wears more the turf shoes in the dugout, and then when she's fourth up in an inning, she'll go to the cleats and get ready for her at bat, DJ, but just tough to deal with. Hits this one toward left center field. Morgan over to catch it, and the inning's over. So Pickens comes from the bullpen, gets the final 2 outs, but the Sooners also get on the board. It is 2-1. Lady Volunteers on top, moving to the 4th. And should be.
Rightfully so with that shot.
Her 3rd of the season. So Landry back out there for Oklahoma. Gave up that home run. Has had some base traffic to have to deal with. Hasn't had a clean inning so far.
We heard Coach Weekly talk about it on the Tennessee side of the ball, but I mean, walk numbers have been high for both pitching staffs so far in this ball game. 3 free passes for Landry. But a lot of base runners and really and truly, I mean, not a ton of base hits in this ball game. Tennessee with 4. The Sooners just with 2, but still finding base runners.
Pounded into the ground on a hop to McEnroe Marinas. 1 away in the 4th. Only McEnroe Marinas. Patty Gasso said she's built to be a third baseman. She's just wired that way.
You've got to, I feel like you've got to have a couple screws loose to be a third baseman.
Now, what do you mean by that?
We have seen Nelly McEnroe Marinas all season, especially with lefties in the circle for the Sooners, just getting fed all the time. And some of those hot shots, I mean, they don't call it the hot corner for no reason.
Well, Oklahoma's had some very good ones.
Yes.
Alyssa Brito, Sydney Romero, just a couple that they have had down there in recent years. You've got to be fearless to play down there.
And when you've got fearless third baseman like Sid Romero, Nelly McEnroe Marinas, it makes it easier when you're in the circle of knowing when you hit a spot. And speaking of third baseman,
yeah, there's Alyssa Brito watching. Riley Boone. You know, there's national champs all over the house tonight. Just down and in there.
Nicole May as well, and whole line of national champions there. Lena Torres, Jada Coleman.
Jada Coleman down there. Two balls and 2 strikes here with Leach, who doubled, hit that ground rule double that bounced over the left field foul fence. Slow roller to second. Agbayani takes care of Leach. 2 gone.
Landry getting ahead on Lee 0-2, and then you can see her working her pitches low in the zone. 2 ground balls here in the 4th. A little bit of an adjustment from Landry. Most of Tennessee's outs up until this inning were in the air. So seeing the adjustment by Landry, getting the ball down and working low in the zone.
Savai Morgan is 0 for 2. She has flied to left and hit a comebacker to the pitcher, Landry. And 0-2 the count on the Tennessee left fielder. Morgan has started every game for the Vols, leads them in runs scored, 19 stolen bases, just a menace when she gets on base.
Morgan has really been a table setter for this Lady Vols offense all season. Has been kept off the base paths here tonight.
Tough short hop there by Garcia, but she's able to get Morgan. And that's the first 1-2 by Sam Landry tonight. 2-1 Tennessee leads. We'll visit with Patty Gasso when we return to Norman.
As a whole.
See a little bit of orange you see on some of our wide shots in the outfield.
Yeah, quite a few Tennessee fans here.
These are the hardest tickets to get in the state of Oklahoma. I know the Oklahoma City Thunder leads the NBA in just about everything. I think these tickets are harder to get because there are fewer of them.
I agree with that.
And some Tennessee fans were able to get them. Got to have some strings. Maybe Josh Heupel has some connections, or I don't know.
He might have a few.
Could. This one rolled foul. Heard Patty Gasso say, and that's been this team's MO. Even if they're not producing huge numbers, they always feel comfortable and confident, and that goes back to her confidence in JT Gasso. She has complete confidence in what the game plan will be and in her offense's approach to games like this.
Yeah, and regardless of what's happening in the game, this offense attacks. And I think one thing that's really, and we've seen it with every single offensive team that in the past few years, of they trust the process. You don't see them trying to do too much, and they do such a tremendous job of making in-game adjustments.
Patty Gasso said, I try to be mom. I try to tell him he can and can't do things, but he's just so good at what he does. She compared him to a professor who teaches things in a way that students thank him for it. Like, thank you. I maybe didn't understand. It was a difficult concept, and you made the learning easy for me.
It takes a special type of coach to be able to do that, right? And, you know, as coaches, you get, it's easy to get stuck in your ways of, well, this, I've told you once, I've told you twice. I'm not going to tell you again, almost like a parent. But finding a way of learning what makes every single one of.
So we talk about the speed, we talk about the pitch, 78.2 miles per hour. Previous fastest pitch was a former fellow Lady Volunteer, Monica Abbott. That was nicely done with the second baseman Dodge coming in behind Gibson to get the out at first base. It was the Chicago Bandits, 77 miles per hour that Monica Abbott threw back in 2012, the prior fastest pitch.
In good company. I've got to say, when I think Tennessee softball, there's so many different facets that you can brag on, but they have always had tremendous pitching. When you go back the Monica Abbott days, and it hasn't always just been about the velocity. That's the low-hanging fruit, right? Of, oh my goodness, Pickett's throw so hard, 78 miles an hour. We could talk about it all day. It's unbelievable, but that's not what makes her great. What makes
all 5 Oklahoma hitters she has seen. To the 5th we go in Norman.
These pitchers starting to settle in and be in the strike zone, which was an issue early on both sides.
Was, in fact, 2 of the 3 runs were scored by a batter who was either hit by pitch or drew a walk. Agbayani, easy over to first with the first out. Alana Agbayani has moved right into that second base spot for Oklahoma defensively. We've talked about it over the years with this Oklahoma program. Pitching, amazing. National Pitchers of the Year. All-time softball home run leaders. But they have been so good defensively under Patty Gasso over the years. Unflinching in the detail that they have out there in the field. It has been a staple of her tenure here in Norman, hasn't it?
It has, and it's easy to talk about the great arms that have come through this program. It's easy to talk about the blasting offense. I think sometimes the defense gets overlooked a little bit, you know, and not so much because it's not outstanding, but it's expected. You don't always expect pitchers to come out and shut out every team that they face and strike out 10, or to have an offense that has the power like we've seen from this Sooner team in recent years. You expect in a Sooner uniform to see nearly a flawless defense, and this defense does not disappoint.
That was hit on a line, a bit of a late jump out there by Core, and she was just able to pluck it off the outfield turf to retire.
By Core, big grin, finding a way to make she just wanted to make a shoestring catch.
It got our attention. McKenna Gibson, the cleanup hitter. She walked in the first and then grounded out to the first baseman, Sid Sanders, in the third. 39 career home runs, 157 career runs driven in. And a high chopper, an easy one for Landry. Now back-to-back 1-2-3 innings in the circle for Sam Land. 80 Volunteers. Certainly showing what they have to take. There's the wall. That is right field here at Loves Field. Carlin Pickens has retired all 5 batters that she has faced since coming on in relief of Sage Margetko. Maya Bland is pinch hitting here for the Sooners. To deep right center field, and it's out of here.
Just her second home run of the season, and took advantage of a pitch up in the zone. Swing of the bat. In this game, it has just been absolute momentum shifts back and forth between these two teams.
Oklahoma has certainly taken hold of the momentum in this one. And here is Nellie McEnroe-Marinas.
Big swing and a miss from Marinas. Has not seen the ball well here this evening with a pair of strikeouts.
7 home runs in 9 SEC games. She had a home run in each game of the Missouri series last weekend. This off the end of the bat and barehanded. Carlin Pickens able to get out number 2. McEnroe-Marinas is 0 for 3 tonight.
Pickens just bouncing off the mound to make the play. Good response after the solo shot.
Cassidy Pickering has reached in both of her plate appearances tonight. Had a base hit in the first and a walk in the third. She was the last batter that Margetko faced before being replaced by Pickens. Just a mature hitter. That's the word that you get from Patty Gasso, DJ Gasso, and she's only a sophomore.
Yeah, and she came in with that composure as a freshman. And, you know, we can talk about all the things that she did and has continued to do in a Sooner uniform, but so much of that goes back to just how well she approaches her at-bats. And she has never looked like a freshman in the box.
She was National Player of the Week back on March 4th. She had a 4-homer week with 12 runs batted in. And she was a big part of Oklahoma's title run in Oklahoma City last year. Was on the all-tournament team at the Women's College World Series.
And she just came in again and never looked like a freshman. And one thing that I've been really impressed with her, and Ella Parker as well, coming off of freshman runs like we saw from Pickering, it's really easy to press as a sophomore and try to do too much. She's done just a really good job of showing that maturity.
Right back up through the box and into center field. Second hit for
a little bit of a defensive swing coming from Pickering, but finding a way on base here with 2 outs.
Gabby Garcia checked her swing but fouled that ball off. She's 0 for 1. Drove in the first Sooner run with a sacrifice fly to left field that scored Hannah Core back in the third. Oklahoma has tied it here in this fifth inning on a solo home run by Abby Dayton. And 0-2 the count quickly on Garcia.
Speaking of freshmen that do not look like freshmen, Gabby Garcia. And I want to go back to her at bat in the third with that sacrifice fly. Again, not trying to do too much.
Business-like freshman. 0-2 remains the count. Pickens has struck out 2 since entering the game in relief of Marjetko. To the first baseman to go in her first year in Knoxville.
And Nugent knows this program well, and one thing I have really enjoyed in this ball game and watching Sophia Nugent behind the plate and just the way that she has managed this game and taking charge. And speaking of Sooner ties, Coach Craig Snyder also spent some time here in Norman as well. He was a graduate assistant.
Catcher in Kinsey Hansen. And as we said, there's so much grumbling about the transfer portal. We don't talk enough about the times that it works out.
Yeah.
Look at these two who are battling right here. You've got a Louisiana transfer and an Oklahoma transfer.
It's about finding the right fit. And, you know, and part of it as well, you know, as recruiting gets earlier and earlier, things change.
They do.
And it's not, it doesn't mean that there's anything wrong on either side. It's just finding the right.
And she goes off speed for strike one to Laura Mueller. Mueller 1 for 2, had a base hit into center field back in the third and popped up to the second baseman Agbayani the first time up. Not a lot of off-speed offerings, but 2 to start this at bat.
And you can see Mueller, that's not what she was hunting. She was out of rhythm and off time, and Landry finding some rhythm herself. Working in the zone, we're seeing a lot more 0-2 pitchers counts. And her misses are the difference. The misses are close. The misses are deliberate. We're not seeing those big misses way out of the zone, up or down or in the dirt. Each pitch is just nibbling right outside the zone, and all of a sudden now you're shifting and we're starting to see more defensive swings from the Volunteers.
High chopper reaching up to grab it is Sanders, but won't get to the bag in time. Mueller beats it. A little off balance there, but had to climb. That's the second hit from Mueller tonight. It breaks a string of 8 straight retired by Sam Landry. And here's Ella Dodge, who was hit by pitch and was aboard when Doyle cracked a home run in the second.
Something to keep an eye on. Mueller will take off. 6 stolen bases on the season. This is an aggressive Tennessee team. An opportunity here to try to put some pressure on this Oklahoma defense.
Ground ball to Agbayani. She will tag Mueller and throw to first, but not in time. As Dodge beats the wrap. Crushed. A 2-run home run to left center field in the second will be the batter. She's also grounded out to the third baseman, McEnroe Marinas, tonight.
And Doyle's home run back in the second has been the difference maker for Tennessee in this game, and took that 3-1 pitch. But I will say this, Tennessee, 5 hits, but finding a way to get runners on base.
Two balls and a strike now.
You can hear the Sooner fans unhappy about that call, as is Coach Gasso. And I will say this, we have seen walk numbers high on both sides. It's not a coincidence. The zone is tight. And I mean, I feel like when you're seeing those high walk numbers, that's a big time off speed pitch from Landry in the 3-1 count. But there's a common denominator when you got high walk numbers. Not spoken like a pitcher, but
indeed it is.
There is a common denominator when you got high walk numbers like we've seen tonight.
Lifted into right center field, long run, but Pickering is able to reach it, and the inning is over. A base hit and a runner left by the Lady Volunteers. We're tied at 2, headed to the bottom of the 6th. LSU would be 6-1, and Mississippi State would be 6-1 after that win. They could go to 7-1 if they sweep Texas today. Ella Parker leads off for Oklahoma, swings through that one. Parker's 0 for 2. She's flied to center and flied to left.
You talk about looking around at scores on in the SEC, absolute gauntlet. There is no break.
The only break you get, and it's not always, is when you get to step out of conference play for a weekend. Oklahoma will do that next weekend, but they'll get a pretty good UCF team here in Norman.
Absolutely. And if you track this week, you know, a little bit of a stressful game up in Wichita. So, I mean, it's just never ending, and I think every weekend you've got to be at your best.
Parker fouls this one off. So about that game in Wichita, 19-16. Back on Wednesday night for the Sooners, who got 8 runs in the first inning. And Wichita State started hitting home runs. The night got late, and Oklahoma was able to get out of, not Dodge, but another city in Kansas, Wichita, with a 3-run victory, 19-16, as Pickens retires Ella Parker to start the 6th.
I'm impressed with your Kansas geography, Chad.
Let's see, Dodge, West, and Wichita, kind of south central in the state of Kansas. Pickens has been very good, with the exception of the home run to Dayton in the 5th. That is one of 2 base runners that she has allowed since taking over in the 3rd for Marjetko, who started tonight. Sydney Sanders is 0 for 2.
And one thing this Tennessee pitching staff has done well, just in general, if you go back and you look, they've handled the middle part of this lineup very well. Garcia had the sac fly, but she also grounded into a 6-4-3 double play with runners in scoring position back in the 1st. Ella Parker an 0 for 9 so far, something that is atypical. Sydney Sanders has not reached base yet here tonight. So Tennessee pitching has handled the meat of the Sooner lineup very well, and you know, that's why we're knotted at 2.
2-1 now on Sid Sanders. Hit 15 home runs last year, batted .392.
Such patience from Sydney Sanders as she takes the 2-1.
And Tatum Stolting hearing it a little bit from the Tennessee dugout on that one. Not too much. That is just fair inside the bag and past panel. Sydney Sanders cruising into second base with a one-out double for Oklahoma.
Straight over the bag.
Here for Sanders, and she will be run for at second base by Tia Malloy, who's the potential go-ahead run.
We can talk about all the ties. As big as the softball community is, it's also a very small world. And Kiki Malloy in the house here this evening.
Big part of Tennessee's 2 SEC championship runs. And that's a player that Karen Weekly called a generational leader. What she did for this Tennessee program. There you see Tia out there at second base. I believe we saw Kiki in that. She's got to be in the house watching,
yes,
right?
Yes, absolutely. I got a feeling.
I'm told they're trying to find her. We saw her before the game, but haven't been able to locate her since.
Hunt for some orange.
She was actually wearing a gray hoodie.
Probably surrounded by some orange.
Big hack here by Elana Agbayani. Oklahoma with the potential go-ahead run in scoring position. Agbayani walked in the second, grounded out in the fourth, and 0-2. And that's Pickens, businesslike. She may give up a hit or a run here or there, but her response is always dead on.
She just goes about her business, and she does it so deliberately, and seeing it there and seeing the reaction from Sophia Nugent behind the plate in this Tennessee defense. Bayani up on the inner half.
Third strikeout for Pickens since she came on with one away in the third. And with 2 gone here in the 6th, she faces Isabella Emmerling, who's 0 for 2. And the count quickly to 0-2. Look out over there, Hannah Core in the on-deck circle. 9 home runs for Emmerling. In fact, she hit 2 grand slams this year and a 2-homer game in Oklahoma's SEC opening win. Roller to third. Panel to first in the inning over. A double by Sid Sanders, but the Sooners lead 1 in the 6th inning, and we remain tied at 2 on SEC Network Plus.
Sooner defense finding a way to keep runners off the base paths.
Gabby Leach first pitch swinging. She had a double back in the second. She's also grounded to second base. Landry has allowed just 1 base runner in her last 3 innings of work. 1, 2, 3 innings in the 4th and 5th. And gave up a single but left that runner out there in the 6th.
And Landry has really found her rhythm and starting to see more swings and misses. And just like that swing through from Leach, you can see quite a bit of daylight between the barrel and the ball as it moved through the zone and got that good late break. But Landry doing a good job of executing the drop ball, and then what has been it's been an issue.
So as you said, that's 2 hit by pitches, 2 walks, and the previous batter hit by pitch was Ella Dodge in the second. She came in to score on the home run by Doyle.
And here, if you're Tennessee, Leach, the 9-hole hitter, rolling this lineup back over here deep in this ball game to Morgan with an opportunity for the top half of this lineup to get some things done.
Zoe Schuler is over there running at first base for Leach. Morgan 0 for 3 tonight. Has flied to left and grounded out twice. Tennessee with a chance to go on top. Leadoff runner aboard to start the 7th.
this is where this Tennessee offense shines. They truly early base runners, aggressive leads.
That bunt fouled off by Morgan. 2-1 the count.
Using the short game and really utilizing the strengths that the top half of this lineup has in Morgan and Fielder, both lefties.
Tried to bunt that one, and that's strike 2. Landry tonight, 6 innings, 5 hits, 2 runs, 2 walks, a strikeout, and 2 hit batsmen. Just so important for Morgan to try to get one down and get that runner moved.
At this point, 2 strikes, put the ball on the ground. We saw the attempt at the bunt, and again, top of the 7th inning, finding a way to move your runners, and now Morgan gonna need to do it with the stick, seeing her go to the slap.
It'll stay 2-2.
The Sooners sticking with that defensive shift against Morgan. And Cassidy Pickering is essentially, again, just like we've seen, no right fielder.
Chopper out in front. The throw will go to second. It is scooped up out there by Abby Dayton, the left fielder, who's on the infield with that shift. So the throw goes from Emmerling to, after being safe at first, the pitch goes all the way back to the backstop. Emmerling picks it up. But Morgan had that base stolen. She was moving. The ball just got past Emmerling. So now the Lady Volunteers with the lead run in scoring position here in the 7th inning.
Coach Gasso out of the dugout for a moment, but you can kind of see
so the call is stolen base for Morgan, and Patty Gasso challenging that she left the base early.
and this is something that's how many games in the last year and a half, especially I go back to last season, how many games kind of got turned on their head because a runner got called for leaving early, and it's something that is new, and you know, in years past, right? So the stolen base would have been, the jump would have been irrelevant because the pitch got away. And
so the call on the field was the runner did not leave early. It is a stolen base, and Oklahoma challenging, saying that Morgan did leave early. Your eyes are better than mine.
And mine aren't that great, so.
I think we have a decision.
And talk about a challenge well used. Chess game all the way through, and that dugout for the Sooners watching Morgan like a hawk. And watching it on the replay, I mean, she left early.
And so tough for the Lady Volunteers. You get the leadoff runner aboard, and now without even putting a ball in play, both are erased. Both hitters are gone, and it's 2 down, bases clear. Fiedler. Foul of first baseman.
And what looked like the Tennessee Volunteers an opportunity, and still have an out to play with here in the 7th, but we've talked about momentum and how it has played in this ball game, and what felt like Tennessee making a push here in the 7th inning. You go back to when we talk about potential mistakes, also not getting the bunt down with the 9-hole, getting hit by the pitch, multiple attempts at the bunt and not seeing it executed, and then again being caught leading early.
2 balls and 2 strikes on Fiedler, who's 0 for 3 tonight. She's lined to short, lined to first base, and grounded to second base. And a full count.
I'm going to say the word again of momentum. For Landry, getting a couple gifts. I mean, if we're being completely honest, getting a couple quick outs after giving a free pass to start this inning. Big pitch here, big at bat for Landry to get the Sooners back in the dugout and keep that momentum on the Sooner side.
To first base, hard hit, but right at Sanders, and the inning is over. Lady Volunteers get a base runner, but have that runner called out for leaving the bag early at first base. And we're tied at 2. 9 wins this year. They trailed 2-0. They got a home run from Abigail Dayton in the 5th. She'll bat second here in this inning. Oklahoma's also 9-1 when the opponent scores first, as was the case tonight. The 2-run home run in the 2nd inning by Doyle. It gave the Lady Volunteers the lead. Hannah Core back in there in the number 9 spot after Maya Bland batted for her in the 5th. Right chopper is foul. Hannah Core's 0 for 1. She walked and scored a run on a sacrifice fly. It was the first Sooner run back in the 3rd inning.
And Hannah Core coming around to score on that walk, and you know, you just look at how this game has gone, and it's been kind of interesting, as you know, the Sooners in a position here to potentially walk it off.
Not hit hard, and a tough play. The dodge cannot quite get to first in time. Hannah Core with an infield single.
But it's been really interesting as this game has gone. Both of these teams, the story for both teams has been very similar. I feel like in the circle, offensively, we've seen good defense on both sides. We've seen some really good execution. We've seen some not so hot execution at times, but it's been just both of these teams exchanging jabs, and you know, we've seen the long ball and we've seen the big strikeouts.
Huge one right there. Maybe none bigger for Pickens, as she fends Dayton, who homered back in the 5th inning. One away, and Core has to stay put at first base as McEnroe Marinas is in. It's the first time tonight that Oklahoma, second time tonight since the 1st inning, Oklahoma's been able to get the leadoff batter a chance. Pulled into the hole between 3rd and short. First hit of the night for Nellie McEnroe Marinas, and the winning run is in scoring position for the Sooners.
And the captain finding a way to make an adjustment, and the speed of Core at second from ending this ball game.
7 hits now for the Sooners. 2 hits in the inning. The leadoff infield single by Core, and one through the left side by McEnroe Marinas as Pickering takes a swing at the first pitch from Pickens. Pickering's been on base 3 times tonight. 2 singles and a walk for her. Ripped but foul.
Talked earlier about the maturity and composure that you see from Pickering. Winning run at second base. Her approach looks the exact same as if nobody on in a 10-run ball game. Just composed and staying with her game plan. That's a big take from Pickering. We have seen Pickens have a lot of success with that drop ball on the inner half and really tying up these hitters. That's a huge take by Pickering.
Pulled through the right side and into right field. Leach is up with it. Cora's around third. The throw is on target. It's on time. And Cora's cut down. We stay tied. Clean play by Gabby Leach to get that ball back in. And we're still at 2-2. What a tag by Nugent.
Everything about that from Tennessee. Hannah Leach.
Concentration to field that ball and still lunge to apply the tag.
Everything about this ball game has had a postseason feel to it. We expected it, and take it all the way down to what would have been the winning run and just good softball.
Cassidy Pickering is now 3 for 3. But as you said, the defense played both ways. It's been a lot of Oklahoma defense on the infield. There's been no bigger defensive play tonight than that throw by Gabby Leach.
Big time by Leach. And you kind of saw the grin from Coach Gasso as well. You've got to take that opportunity. You've got Pickens in the circle, one of the best pitchers in the country, the most velocity in the country. You've got to take that opportunity and put the pressure on Tennessee to make the play, and Leach rose to the occasion.
Nellie McEnroe-Marinas is now at third. It is Cheney Helton who is running at first base for Cassidy Pickering, and Gabby Garcia with 2 down and runners at the corners. She's 0 for 2, drove in a run with a sacrifice fly in the third, though. And 0-2 the count.
A little bit of a delayed call.
But Pickens peels one over the outside edge, nods her head. What a huge momentum swing this could be if the Lady Volunteers could get out of this. Back up the middle, positioned perfectly. Nealer to the bag, and the inning is over.
Bonus ball.
We got free softball for you tonight. Tied at 2-2. This game's had just about everything. What kind of a finish is it going to have? Maybe we will find out when we come back. Swing there.
Landry trying to work ahead in counts. The defense for both of these teams has shined here tonight. Throw a ground ball, find a way to get yourself out of this inning and give this Sooner offense a chance. Landry on top.
A ball and 2 strikes here to Leach. Just keeps the at-bat alive. This is life in the SEC. Not every game is like this, but many of them are.
SEC games so far at Love's Field have been entertaining, to say the least.
Garcia gets the force play. The flip to Agbayani for the second out, as Mealer is able to advance on down to third, and Dodge is cut down at second. So Alana Leach, the runner at first, and now Gabby Leach will be the batter. She has made the play of the night with the throw from right field to cut down the winning run in the 7th inning. A one-hop strike to the catcher Nugent. She's also got a double and been hit by a pitch in this game. That one goes right past Emmerling, and it's a run on the board for Tennessee to take a 5-2 lead on a wild pitch.
It's a huge run for Tennessee.
1-1 now to count on Gabby Leach. Hard hit ground ball, but Sanders is there, and the inning is over. 5-2. Tennessee leads on Harlan Pickens to the circle. She came on in the 3rd in relief of Sage Marjetko. 4 2/3 innings. She has given up 6 hits, but just 1 run. No walks and 4 strikeouts. And Ella Parker takes that one high. The count goes to 1-1. Ella Parker 0 for 3 tonight. A couple of fly ball outs and a ground out.
Big spot here for Parker. Been pretty quiet here tonight, and talked about it earlier of the middle of this lineup has not had a hit outside of Sydney Sanders.
Line shot caught by Mealer. 1 away. Had the mic drop on the ball. That final out in the 7th inning. A little flare. Sydney Sanders had a double back in the 6th inning. 1 for 3 tonight. Oklahoma 19-game home winning streak. They're 13-0 at home this season. And Tennessee trying to take both of those down. 2-1.
Big hack from Sid Sanders on the 2-0 pitch. See her going after a pitch she knew was going to be in the zone.
Upstairs with that one. So now 3-2 on Sanders. Made so much about the 78.2 mile per hour fastball for Pickens on Monday. Sharon Weekly said she gets the strikeout on Sanders. He said of Pickens, though, the best part is the
Sid Sanders of throwing some rise balls through the zone and getting those swing throughs, and then just continuing to work the ladder up into the eyes. Great pitch sequence coming from Pickens, but it's really easy, especially with social media and all of the instant media that's out there, to get caught up in that. And that's something that Pickens is just showing her character. And Coach Weekly, that was the big piece of just what a tremendous teammate she is, and a leader for this team in the way that she goes about her business.
Akmayani's 0 for 2 with the walk tonight. Pickens in position to pick up the win. Would be her 12th. Three and 2 now, and the Vols are 1 strike away from as impressive a win as we've seen this season.
What a game. Tennessee finding a way to get the job done, and in what was just a hard-fought game on both sides. And you can pick it apart and look at things that could have been done differently. But Tennessee finding a way to get the job done, and Pickens coming in and shutting this game down.
Pickens picks up the win. She strikes out